We're live. Okay, Rebels and Rule Breakers, welcome to our 1 year anniversary mystery reveal show. I'm just hoping we're going to have some people turning up, because a lot of the people that show up regularly are right now waiting in the green room of the studio to be revealed. And we have been building a team, a small army, in fact, of people that have now joined the Master Rebel team, #Rebel Squad. I am extremely excited to do this. Hello, Facebook user. I can't see who you are, love, because you potentially haven't given permission to StreamYard for your photo and so on. Name, excuse me. So if you put a comment in and you haven't given StreamYard permission, just put your name at the end of the comment. 3 people, excellent, really, really good. There's Percy joining in with the fun. So 1 year old, and what an amazing year it's been. So we've now hit we're almost at 860 people, and I am incredibly proud of what this collective has created in the community and beyond the community as well. It means a hell of a lot to me that it's got off the ground like it has. And I started the group on a bit of a whim. And I say it was a whim. Actually, it was it was a message that I got to do it. And I didn't really understand at the time why I was doing it, what it was for, what the purpose of it was. So I just did it. And then all of a sudden it went off like a firework. And I am extremely proud and delighted to see the things that we've achieved already over the last year. Hello, Krista Love. So without further ado, I'm going to start to reveal to you one by one who our new team are, because we've had a bit of a refresh over the last few weeks, and I've opened up the opportunity to be a Master Rebel, and I'm going to be doing that every 6 months. So this is our current lineup that I am about to bring to you. And I think the best place for us to start is with the most original of all the Rebel team members, as in the most long-standing member of the team out of the current lineup. Hi, Shazza. Thank you very much. And that person is an absolute rock to me. I say this all the time. She's probably sick of hearing it, but I just love this woman so much. And she is so unendingly supportive and just a fierce, kick-ass woman that I'm so proud to know. So I'm going to bring her in now.
Hello!
Vanessa!
Not rid of me, but no.
Looking hot today, girl.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, how long have you been in the team now?
So, I have been in Rebels and Rule Breakers since probably about Christmas last year. No, November last year. I think there wasn't very many members at that point. It was at that growth point after we'd met. Randomly on LinkedIn, which was wonderful. And like you said about messages then, it was like, whoa, there's something special here. I need to get on board with this. So joined kind of November last year. And I think it may have been around the December, January, where we had the Master Rebels initial squad put together with a few of the other people who are still around and still very, very active. But yeah, one of the singular best decisions I ever made.
Oh, love it. Honestly, so glad that you've been with me for, the majority of this journey. And we've got really big plans as well, haven't we, as to how we're going to dominate the world. So how do you do Rebellion, Mrs.? What does Rebellion mean to you, and why are you here doing this with us?
Do you know what? Gosh, Rebellion changes so much to me, and it's changed since back in the day. But Rebellion to me is being unequivocally yourself, but not apologising about that. I spent so long trying to be a quieter person and more demure and sitting in the background and not being the loudest voice in the room, before realising that actually that is who I am, and I'm only the loudest voice in the room because I genuinely have something to say and something to input. It's not just noise, and I believe for many, many years it was just noise. And it's not. And rebellion to me is about bringing that rebellion out in other people. And through Rebels and Rule Breakers, through Rebel Yell, the people I've met and supported and built relationships up with has been phenomenal. And personally for me, I've got 2 daughters, as most of you know. I've got my 20-year-old big girl. I know I don't look old enough. I am at 21, but hey, I don't when I was 3. And I have my 6-year-old. And being women in what we know at the moment is a really uncertain world for women, bringing them up to be strong, loud, vibrant, and to make their mark on the world and to know it's okay is my life's mission. Absolutely hugely important. And for them to see me do something like this is just amazing. You know, my 6-year-old was like, can I come? Please let me come. Let me see my friends. I'm like, no, this is not the time. But yeah, being able to bring out that strength in people that we all know is there. And hopefully I'm a little bit of a conduit to that, to be able to say, come on, you can do it. I did it. Look what you can do.
You're a massive role model to those girls, actually.
Thank you.
And to many as well. Lisa, so glad you're kind of still here with us. You are a real nucleus to this team. So, without further ado, let's do the next also strong female in the group. Where is she? There she is. I can see her flexing her muscles already. Whoop!
Hi.
She's there.
Yes, she's back.
It's Tracy. How you doing, sweet pea?
I'm good. How are you?
You're pumped.
I'm pumped. I am excited. It's been a while because last time I did this was when we were revealing that I was joining.
Yeah.
And now we're revealing that I've stayed. And I'm excited that I've stayed.
That's so cute. I love having you as part of this team. Tracy and I have known each other for a lot of years, actually, but we had a lot of years in between where we had no contact, actually, just because of, you know, our lives kind of going in the paths they did. And we reconnected, and I immediately knew that I wanted Tracy as part of the gang in some form or other. And it just became really obvious quite quickly that she was absolutely Master Rebel material. And I'm absolutely delighted that she's decided to stay. Tell us more about how you do you.
So I wrote a while ago, I wrote something on Rebel Yell, and it kind of, I really loved it. So I thought, I'm just going to read it just because it says exactly what I do for rebelling.
Amazing.
It's about not changing myself to make others feel comfortable.
Ooh.
It's about being comfortable in my own skin, about accepting who I am, what's and all, not feeling I need to meet some social level of perfection, which doesn't exist. I used to hide behind... No, I used to bend to fit. So you can tell that I'm reading this because I'm trying to scan it really quickly. I used to bend to fit, but I ended up being really miserable. I wasn't a very confident person. Emma, you know this. We spoke about this before. Mm. I always was the loudest person in the room, but a lot of that was because I was hiding how uncomfortable I was with who I was. But as I've got older and I've kind of gone, do you know what? I'm pretty cool, really.
You are.
Very cool. Now I'm me. And that might be a home bird sitting at home with a cup of tea, but that is who I am, and that's what I love. And something else that I wrote that I really love, being a rebel and a rule breaker, it isn't about standing out from the crowd. It's about accepting that you were never part of the crowd to begin with. And I love that I've accepted that about myself. I'm not part of the crowd.
You are a massive role model for that. You are so comfortable in your own skin now, and compared to, you know, when I used to know you, you are just the perfect rebellious icon, I think, for this group. Someone's asking wine or apple juice, Tracy O'Raw.
Gin. It's gin.
Either.
It's pink. Pink. The camera's the opposite way around. It is pink, but it yeah. I've only had one.
As well, someone else is saying. I'm wondering whether this is MK, actually. Our beautiful MK.
MK is on.
Yes.
He's in the house.
Good. Yay.
Wait.
So, you're back. You never really left.
I didn't.
And onwards, because we're going to do great things, aren't we?
I can't wait. I'm so
We've got
excited.
girl power so far going on here, haven't we?
We have.
We're about to put in some body power or some man power by the name of also one of the previous versions of the team, Mr. Paul Harris.
I didn't know that was going to be me. I thought it must be somebody else.
You're not used to being described as manpower.
I'm quite cool with being called girl power, actually, as well. So, you know, that's fine.
Into that.
Great to be here.
It's so great to have you here, Paul. Another incredible support in my life. We have been friends for quite some time now, haven't we?
Yeah.
It probably feels like longer than it actually is, in a good way. And just one of the most supportive people I have ever had in my life. So was really ecstatic when you said you would join us a few months ago, and even more happy that you're sticking around. So tell us a little bit about you and what makes you you.
Ooh, that's a big question. Tell us about you and what makes you you. I'm Paul Harris. I run a company called Real Success, and I suppose the word real is sort of overused a lot. It's all about being real, but in terms of what am I about, I run a business that's all about people. I actually work with farmers, actually, but the rebel and rule breakers bit, I suppose, and where the real thing comes together for me is being a rebel. For me is being real. It's being fiercely authentic. It's being who I am. I'm 56 now. I'm far too old to not be who I am, but it's still hard. Even though, I've been doing it a long time, it's still hard to be who you are. And I suppose the rebels and rule breakers thing for me, as well as wanting to support you, Emma, is what I call peaceful rebellion. And actually, and in business in particular, and that's where my rebels and rule breakers thing really fits, is building a business where you don't have to shat on your competitors. You don't have to, destroy other people to be successful. It's about you just running your thing and letting other people do theirs and being unashamedly yourself in business, which doesn't mean, as I say, you have to be nasty or unkind to others. So there's that. That's so in business, it's about being rebellious, which is not following the mainstream. And then my peaceful rebellion, and I was just thinking about this before you invited me in, actually, was about, I think we had this conversation in the group at some point. It can often appear like you're sitting on the fence, which means I don't get drawn into, social media arguments. I don't get drawn into political arguments. I don't get drawn into, any sort of deep argument, because I want to hear what people have got to say, as opposed to thinking I've got to put my viewpoint across. So my peaceful rebellion, if you like, is to listen and not judge, and just to hear what other people have got to say, because social media is just rife and full of people wanting to spout their opinion, whether it's vaccinations, whether it's politics, whatever it might be. And you know what? It's really interesting to hear people's views that are different to yours if you're prepared to be it. So I suppose my peaceful rebellion is not to be against something, not to rebel against anything, but to be for listening and just hearing what other people have got to say. Yeah, so if that's my rebel and rule breaker, it's that. And I suppose the last thing I would say is that it's just come into my mind, which is, I think the world's a paradox, and everything we do is back to front, inside out, and upside down. So part of my rebellion is not to see things that are difficult and negative as difficult and negative, but to see them as something actually that's probably going to help you grow, be positive. And I've been through that this last week, actually, just something else that's occurred that's like, oh, that was a bit crap. But actually, is it crap? Or is it going to teach me something? So, I tend to look at the world upside down, back to front and inside out.
I love that. Somebody's saying you don't look 56.
Oh, bless them.
Out there.
Yes, I'm available for bar mitzvahs, and if you want to...
What, the incredible young-looking man?
Yeah, you are, yes. I do a really good impression of a 56-year-old. I'm actually only 24, but there you go. That's part of my rebellion as well. I mean, my middle daughter calls me Peter Pan at times. I don't grow up. You know, I want to be youthful. I want to be
I think
laughter. You know,
I think
part
we
of
lost
rebellion
it
is not getting old.
Wi-Fi.
You what? Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think you slowed down a little bit there because I think the Wi-Fi went a bit funny.
Well, I'm in rural Dorset
Caught it.
in a B&B, so I'm pushing the Wi-Fi a little bit.
It looks very nice.
It's good, doesn't it?
Very nice.
Very comfy, thank you, Tracy. Yep. Thank you, Tracy.
Well, Paul,
it was Lisa that said that.
We look forward to more of your wisdom, because we always have really great conversations, you and I together, but also in the community calls we do and the various different lives and things, don't we? So that's going to be exciting. Stay tuned for that, folks. So who wants more manpower?
Yeah, baby.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
So I am going to bring in a really what's the word I'm looking for? A really sort of interesting character. I'm going to just say that. An interesting character who actually is very good at articulating his thoughts and views on the world as well, in similar to what Paul was saying. And I'm very, very pleased to announce that our first sort of new reveal to the team is Mr. Jamie Denyer.
Big up.
Whoop. So, Jamie. How do we
the new kid on the block, the new me. Yeah, I'm very proud to be a part of all this. Very, very pleased to be a part of all this. It's a real honor, you know.
It's a massive honor to have you here. Some of the people watching hopefully will remember that you and I did an interview, didn't we, a few months back? And we talked about what it is you do for the world. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that, because that is, to me, perfect rebellion.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, again, it's something where I had a choice of whether something was going to make me or whether it was going to break me. And it was just like myself and my family's life being flipped upside down in the most horrendous way when a young family member's life was taken through violence. And like, we'd experienced grief before and we'd experienced pain and anguish, but you know, it's a whole different level when you have to go through that process. Someone else is at fault for it, and you don't just have to kind of deal with the grief and then kind of deal with the healing and stuff afterwards, and you find closure. This kind of thing like takes you on a journey, and it takes you on like a challenge that doesn't stop, because you have to deal with the aftermath of it all. You have to deal with like the grieving. You have to deal with the you know, the final goodbye at a celebration of life. Then you have to armor up again, and you have to go into a court of law, and you have to kind of sit through a murder trial and stuff. So like, there's all this stuff that at that particular time you don't want to go through. You really don't want to experience it, you know. But it's kind of it's training you. It's training you for upcoming events, right? You don't want to go through that thing, right? If you had a choice, you would say, I definitely don't want to go through this. But we don't have the choice. And it was Marcus Aurelius that said, you know, that we have power over our minds, but not outside events. When you realize this, you will find strength. So it's like all the outside events we have no power over, but we have the power about how we think about them, how we come back from them. So yeah, if we were given a choice as human beings, right, we wouldn't go through this stuff. We wouldn't experience it. But there comes a time further on down the line where you think, do you know what? I'm not glad that I went through that in any shape, way, or form, but it has served me well, because now it has trained me for what's coming here. So that's the kind of message that I bring. That I'm very, very kind of proud of myself, and I give myself credit, not in an arrogant way, but you know, because we so many times we're our own worst enemy, right? We're our own worst critic. So we have to start being our own biggest cheerleader sometimes, because it's amazing how many times there's not other people around to kind of cheer us on. So we have to like cheer ourselves on. So first and foremost, I give myself credit for making the choices in which I did to come back from that particular event, from that particular travesty, and turning that adversity into victory. But also because of the path that I've taken, like I've cracked a very, very hard nut to crack in as much as the motivational speaking arena, because everybody kind of wants to be a motivational speaker. People claim to be a motivational speaker. They will call themselves motivational speakers, and I will have a look on their particular social media, and they've never stood in front of an audience in their life. You know, and a lot of people just say, yeah, that's all I've got to do is put out a video and then that's it. You know, that's good enough. But, you know, when you get to a point where people are literally searching for you, like they're seeking you out, like, and you've got the worthwhile, valuable message in which to give, it's one of those that they say, listen, we will pay your fee, we will pay your accommodation, we will pay your travel, we will pay your expenses, because we want you to come here, and we would like, you know, you and your words of wisdom to help the people. So yeah, it's a very, very tough nut to crack, and it's one that I've cracked, but it's because of a real trying and testing time. And a lot of people, because I'm like, life has trained me in like the word, you know, the art of resilience. You know, I still have my down days. I still have like my, you know, my challenges and my tests, like we all do, because we're only human. But with the levels of tests that I get, you know, how I come back from them and how I overcome them, it shows me how battle hardened I am. And a lot of people would like to get to that point, but you know, I've said, listen, I've had 20 years. I've had 20 years of like feeling this. I've had 20 years, like when I look back, because I'm kind of a very proud dad of 2 beautiful daughters, 9 and 5. I'm a very proud dad of a son of 26, and I'm a very proud granddad of two beautiful grandsons, like 2.5 and nearly 4. So it's like I need to show them what they're capable of, right? So I think to myself that throughout my life, I've allowed myself to feel. I've allowed myself to feel this pain. I've allowed myself to feel like these feelings. I've never gone down the road of trying to bury them with alcohol. I've never tried to bury them with drugs. I've never tried to bury them with certain behavior. I've literally allowed myself to feel. So it's like a lot of people would like to get to where I am, but they don't want to go through what I've been through in order to be like who I am. So it's been a journey. It's been a ride. Would I, if I had the power to change anything, of course I would. But you know, life keeps giving us these tests and these challenges, and I will never ever speak about anything that I've got no experience of. So it's one of those that I will always back up my words with my actions. I will always back up my words with evidence, because too many people talk the talk and they don't walk the walk. So it's like when I say about life battle hardening us and training us for upcoming events, you know, it was paramount to me and like clear to me. Like 2019 was brutal for me, of like what happened, you know, loads of stuff that I went through, and I thought to myself, man, like, no, that's it. The end of 2019, 2020, it can't be that bad. It can't be as bad as this. And it was like as if 2020 went, right, hold my drink, like I'm going to show you now. I am going to show you what's going on. And of course, like we went on lockdowns. Of course, we went through the challenges. Do you know what I mean? Like nationwide and globally. But it was during that year that it was the ultimate test, where like the youngest of my 2 older sisters took her own life, and like left 4 devastated children. 4 devastated children, three grandchildren, and a devastated family. But I remember everything that I've learned through my nephew being killed back in 2012, that I knew what I was capable of. And although I was heartbroken, although I was devastated, it allowed me to kind of take a phone call 3 days after my sister took her own life, which helped me calm down and talk sense into a young single mum that was on the verge of doing the same. So yeah, that kind of resilience, everybody is capable of that kind of resilience. Like, I'm no superhero. There's no S on my chest, and I don't wear a cape. But at the end, I might wear my pants on the outside of my tracksuit.
And you threatened to wear just Speedos.
Yeah, we're wearing Speedos.
Come on.
We're disappointed the Speedos aren't there, Jamie.
Yeah, me too.
Well, listen, you can only see from like the chest up. You've got no idea what's going on below this chest. But like I'm saying that there's nothing special about me. I've just taken the hardest choice. I've just made the hardest choice, and it's got me to where I am. So yeah, you know, I'm out there telling people that although a lot of them will have the same problems as me, they will have the same kind of back catalogue as me, and they will have people that have been killed in their family. They will have people that have taken their own life. They will have gone through post-traumatic stress disorder. They will have gone through depression. They will have anxiety, right? They will have all this stuff. Right, they will have neurological conditions of ADHD, mild OCD, mild autism, and that was a moment where back a couple of years ago that I met myself for the first time, was when I got diagnosed with those neurological conditions. It was like, whoa, that answers a lot. That answers quite a few questions. Do you know what I mean? And it was like a real clarification to me that like I've always been different throughout my life, but you have to be different in order to make a difference in this life. And that's why I go in and I tell these kids, like when I got diagnosed with those neurological conditions, 2 weeks later, I was in a primary school telling the kids about their superpowers. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those things that I've taken everything that I've been through and like just letting people know that they can achieve it. Because like I say, they may not have neurological conditions, they may not have had anyone that has killed themselves or had a young family member killed or grew up on a rough council estate and witnessed 2 people murdered by the time they were 13 and witnessed the domestic violence and all that. Yes, they may have gone through that, but no matter what situation they're going through, although it may not be exactly the same, they can still apply the same principles to get through. I just need to remind people that they are strong enough and they're courageous enough to get through whatever is sent to them. And when you look at, you know, the actual moment in which they're in, everybody has got through 100% of their worst days up until that point. So they're part of the 100% club. And I tell people, listen, you're not going anywhere. Like I know this is.
I love that 100% club.
Yeah. So I tell them, yeah, you're not going anywhere. Like not on my watch. And I suppose that's what's kind of built me to who I am, because of what I deal with and how I let people turn or allow people or help people turn the negative into a positive. It's not just, you know, self-worth, and it's not just their self-esteem and stuff. I'd literally get pictures of like an arm of like a youngster where they've slashed it up, where it's like you know real self-harm, and they say like, I just don't want to be here anymore. So at that moment, I'm like the last port of call in a lot of ways, and I have to remind them that the world needs them, that tomorrow needs them, that it's a bad moment, it's not a bad life, but we have to make the choice. And I let people know that they don't want their life to end, they want their life as they know it to end. So it's like we need to change your life in order for you to fall in love with being here again. So you know, the turning of adversity into victory is quite severe with me, is quite savage, and it weighs down on me, and it impacts me, and it affects me, and I have to take time out for myself. And you know, it's one of those that I have to put my own mask on. It's like the air crash scenario. Do you know what I mean? Where they say the plane's going down, then put your own oxygen mask on before you do anything else. You know, no matter who you're with. So I have to do that from time to time. And it's like, you know, if you want me to speak for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, you know, I'll carry on going. But there are some times when I go quiet. There's sometimes when I go quiet, and I have to kind of pull back, and I have to look after me, because I know that me looking after me will be the best benefit to my kids, my family.
You know, we've all of us who are giving people who are here to serve others, we have to look after ourselves first. Otherwise, we do a disservice to those that we are trying to help, don't we?
Yeah.
We've got some good comments in, actually, Jay. We've got a couple of cheeky ones, actually. We've got one that I'm going to assume is from MK, saying, "Now that's a man that could turn me." And
that's MK.
Yeah, there we go.
Definitely.
If that comes through MK, that's a massive compliment, because she does not do the P.
Okay. Right. Okay. Listen, a compliment is a compliment, no matter where it comes from. And this is something about me, I suppose, like with my background. It's like I've never judged anyone in my life. Like I grew up, you know, I was born in Bow, East London, but I moved to Brighton when I was like a baby. So Brighton is a very, very eccentric, very, very eclectic, very kind of like laid back vibe place. And listen, so I've never judged anyone down to their color, their beliefs, their, you know, especially not their sexuality. Do you know what I mean? Because I grew up in Brighton, which was the gay capital for so many years. And it's like, you know, I've had some incredible friends, and I've got some incredible friends who are gay, and I've had some of the best days on like the Brighton Gay Pride March. One where there was 5 of us all dressed up as the village people, and it was like, you know, it was an incredible day. It was like my ego got massaged on both sides. You know, because I was
you were like that.
I was the one in like the leather waistcoat, the leather hat, the leather chaps with like my bum cheeks hanging out. So it was like, if I had £1 for each time my bum was pinched, now I'd be a very, very rich man.
Amazing.
But it's like, listen, I will take that compliment like massively.
Too right. MK's actually, so MK was one of our previous Master Rebel team members, and they were an absolute education to us because MK taught us a lot about gender, non-conforming life, and queer life and all of that stuff. And they did an amazing workshop for us actually back in the day, which still hangs out in the Rebel Yell Club, which was phenomenal. So I think that's a good cue actually for us to bring in our next new Master Rebel, because this amazing person who, I mean, oh, I've got a bit of feedback.
No, that was me. That was my phone.
Oh, come on, Aurora, get it together, girl.
Roll herself your G.
So this absolutely fantastic person that's coming up next is someone who I have watched, and yes, drum roll, someone who I have watched grow immensely over the last few months, and I'm so proud to have them here in the team. That person is Nadia.
Hi everyone.
Hello, my love. So the reason why this is a good link actually from talking about MK is that you have been part of your journey over the last few months has been actually helping people understand that you prefer to be known as they and them, right?
Yeah.
Sure. So tell us a bit about you, Nadia, because as I say, I've been so unbelievably impressed with your personal growth journey over the last few months. You have pushed your own boundaries beyond fear and pain and so many other things.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that comes from a lot of what Jamie says rings true. I had a family member die through violence very young, and I've got mental health difficulties, and yeah, I'm non-binary, and I suppose the rebelling thing for me is the freedom to be that non-binary hurt person who's come a long way now and has come through therapy and has come through the other side, and I've reached a point where I was just like, okay, what comes next? What do I want? And I think I wanted the freedom to be myself, and Rebels and Rule Breakers and Rebel Yell provided that. So that's how I do rebelling. You know, I try to be authentic. I try to love who I want to love. I try to break from the indoctrinations that society's put into us, and just be authentic and congruent. And that's a constant monitor that goes in my head.
That authentic and congruent thing is absolutely perfect. And, you know, I have never, ever seen you ever be anything other than authentic. You are so true to you.
Yeah, I think I have to be, because I spent, like a lot of us spent so long not being me, and it really damaged me, you know. It really did damage me, and having found, you know, that I can be true to myself inside and outside, has just pushed me forward in the last 6 months, and I've come leaps and bounds.
You really have.
Yeah.
I mean, you face up to things in a way that I've rarely seen in my life. Like the coaching programs and things that we do in Rebel Yell, you not only do you face these fears and these tasks and kind of go, I'm actually really frightened of this. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. But one of the other things that I really love is that you know when to reach out as well. You know when to say, look, I need some help. I need a boost. If you've got any advice, I'm really hitting a wall, not sure how to do this. That's incredibly important.
It is incredibly important. And I think for the rebels and rule breakers that are listening, you know, always reach out to any of us and we'll be there. Because I think what we learn in our lives, I feel it's almost like a duty to pass that on and to give back the beauty that I've found through pain and everything else, because coming out the other side of pain is joy and freedom and choice, and you know,
I've got
that's what it's
goosebumps about
about.
that. Yeah. Oof.
Thank you. Didn't mean to give you goosebumps, darling. At least not like that, no.
See, it's just there's this weird vibe of filth that's just being created. See, we love the light and the shadow in this place.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here, Nadia. Honestly, I was
Thank you
so
for
pleased
having
when you
me.
said
I'm
yes.
honoured. I'm honoured.
It's an honour to have you here. It really, really is.
Thank you.
So the next person who has been from the very start of the joining this whole movement, incredibly supportive, and is just an absolute firecracker of a woman. It's Cheryl.
Hey.
Welcome, sweetheart. You again, when I say you've been supportive, that is an understatement. You have lit my life up in so many ways, and I love how you just will randomly manage to time sending me a message telling me how you're, what the impact of the rebel movement is having on you. You managed to time it perfectly with when I really need to hear it most. So I want to thank you for that publicly.
No drama.
Tell us about you, my love.
About me. Well, I got introduced to Rebels and Real Breakers on the Facebook group by our very OG Lisa, who I've known for a long, long time. And it was great. The Facebook group was, good giggle, good laugh. And it was just that kind of, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be like different, or a different thought process, or just like Paul was saying, just want to listen to something different. I want to be educated about another different point of view. And from there, I ventured into Rebel Yell via a Say No masterclass from one of the OGs.
Yeah, Say No masterclass.
Yeah, so from there, I was just like, you know what? I need that. That's amazing. And then really looking into February, came into the Rebel Yell. And that to me has just transformed me back to being me. So it's not about work full time, 2 little ones. It's hard to find time for you. So, and it's about that. To start off with, I thought, it's that professional development. But actually, it's not. It's a personal one as well. And it's kind of where sometimes my work and my personality outside of work was different. It's like now becoming more one and becoming me. So it's just about rebuilding my confidence, which is absolutely done, to the point of where I was unhappy and I quit my job with nothing to go to, because I was gaining the confidence in myself to be able to walk in and within a week have another job offer for somewhere else. So, it was meant to be, and it's got me through some really crap times, realizing that actually, do you know what? It's not me. It's that situation and you, not me. So it's really rebuilt my confidence. So, and I'm absolutely loving the journey. Can't wait for what's to come, and excited to be a Master Rebel and support others that want to have a bit of me time and
you are a beacon of light when it comes to flying the I'm mixing my metaphors now. Flying the flag for Rebel.
Flying the beacon.
Flying the beacon flag.
On fire. I'm just running around on fire, really. That's what it is. I'm like, no idea.
And you are another one that's really putting in the work, and you're always finding the time to do your stuff, even though you've got so much going on. And you know when to dip out and when to dip in as well, and look after yourself. I think that's a learning curve in itself, isn't it? Learning how to, or when you need to step back.
Yeah, it is. And like you say, making that time for you, making that time for your family, or might even just be, making that time for work and not feeling guilty about it. And that's all good.
Life stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl. I love you. Next lady we're going to bring in is my cheeky little friend. It's Rachel.
Hi!
Yay!
Oh, Rachel, I'm so glad you're here. So you've been on a little bit of a journey of self-discovery and
Can you
growing
see
your
you?
self-confidence, haven't you, for some time now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Massive journey
Is
for me.
this a milk tray advert? Just add
what?
it in there because we cannot see you.
I
Can't
can see
see
her.
me.
No.
Oh, really?
Have you pressed-
Weird.
have you
I wonder
pressed
why I
cam?
can and no one else can.
My
Let's
camera's
see.
on.
Yeah, I can't see
Yeah.
her.
That's
Oh,
strange.
Extra
Let me
material.
I'm going to remove her and bring her back.
Oh, there she is!
Oh,
There she is.
There she is.
Hello!
So bizarre. I could see her. No one else
Well,
could.
at least you could.
I've got comments saying that you're invisible, but you're back now. So,
Well, maybe I am the invisible woman. Sorry.
Maybe.
Nearly man. Woman.
So tell us about you, Rachel, and why you're here, where you've come from and to.
Okay. So, Rebels and
general
Rule Breakers actually came at the right time for me because I was at my lowest of the low. Pretty sure Emma remembers that point for me. I was at the point where I actually didn't want to be here anymore. And basically turning my life around in the space of 24 hours just through playing. So that was an interesting journey at the time.
Actually, for us to bring in our next. Who's got me on their phone?
Ooh, is that you, Tracy?
Me? I don't know why Facebook is going on.
You're
going on mute.
You just love me so much. You want.
I'm addicted to you, Emma.
Terrible.
More than one of me is definitely too much. Trust me.
We want all of you.
Sorry, Ray. Carry on.
It's all right. So yeah, play actually brought me out of my depressive state that lasted quite a few months actually. So it came at the right time, Rebels and Rule Breakers, because it opened my eyes quite a lot as to what I needed to accept in myself and love myself. I needed to love me. Which, like, a year and a half on, I can absolutely say I love me now. Honest to God, I love me, and I don't care if anyone else agrees with me or not. I love you too. But I love me. And I came across this quote quite a while ago, actually, that really resonates. It's Jim Carrey. And basically, this is how depression actually looks to me. So it's depression is your mind telling you it's tired of being the character you're trying to play. So I feel as if all my life I've been trying to be this other person or someone else that someone else has wanted me to be. Mm-hmm. So Rebels and Rule Breakers is now me not living up to the expectations of others or society.
Yeah. Oh, that's so perfect, Rachel. Thanks. So perfect. And I cannot overstate how brilliant it's been to see you make this journey over the last year or so, because you were really lost for a while, and I remember being on the phone to you for long periods of time trying to tell you and knowing that I couldn't make this happen. You had to make it happen, trying to tell you how much I love you and how special you are and how different you are, and that's an amazing, incredible thing. And I knew that you intellectually were getting it, but I also knew that you had to discover that for yourself on a whole different level. And you've just blossomed into this beautiful version of yourself. And then, recently been to Switzerland on your own, which I know was a big deal for you. And you had the most amazing trip, didn't you, by the looks of it? And I can't wait for the slideshow, by the way.
Do you know how many photos I took? There's 532.
Yeah, it's not. Remember we used to do it in the 80s and people would get those slideshow machines and go, this is a mountain, this is a lake.
It's the same mountain, but from a slightly different angle.
You probably need about 2 or 3 hours.
Well, let's make that happen, Rachel, because I am so up for that. I definitely, I kind of feel like I saw snippets of it and was living it a little bit vicariously on your updates. Thank you for being here, sweetheart. I love you
Thank
so
you
much.
for having me. Love you.
So next we have someone from across a body of water. So definitely in a different country officially. And that is Joe. Now, Joe, I know is not the most confident person when it comes to being live, and we are absolutely. Oh, my mum's calling me via my WhatsApp at the wrong time. Thank you. She's obviously not watching live. She's not even on Facebook. How very dare she? This is quite a big deal for you, isn't it? Without putting too fine a point on it, for you to be here and step out and stretch your boundaries. And I am so proud of you for stepping up to that, Joe. So proud of you. Tell us about you.
So I used to teach you. Yeah, so I'm Jo and I live in Ireland, and I'm a single mummy with a 5.5-year-old who looks up to me and wants to be everything I am because I don't follow the team, as I call it. I used to teach years ago and I was very confident. No problem with students, problem with adults. My confidence really rock bottom. I was extremely ill, pronounced dead. And through that time of recovery and up till about 3 years ago, very dark place, struggling to know where I was to be. I'm a bit of an introvert. But unfortunately, up until recently, I was self-harming. And thankfully, all that has stopped. I found confidence in myself and I found my tribe. So I realized that I was also big into Wiccan, and I accepted that I was a witch. And I just love that I'm part of this group, and I feel like I will grow loads.
I think you will. You know, you've already done that by being here. So we've known each other for very short. Pardon?
Fibbing with the accent, yes.
That was a backstage joke, wasn't it? We've known each other for only a very short amount of time, but actually it feels like you know we just sort of had a connection immediately, didn't we? And I think there's a slight air of madness going on about both of us that we just saw in each other. I don't know if your Wi-Fi is a little bit tricky, actually, Joe, or if it's just mine.
Perfect. You are losing. Everybody else can hear.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Everybody else I can see moving.
Oh, right. Okay. It must be mine then. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi at the moment. Anyway, we'll crack on. So yeah, we've known each other long, but I definitely saw from the very start that there was something really different about you in a really good way. And I'm so glad that you have sort of pushed your comfort zones and agreed to do this with us, because I do think it would be really good for you. And I think it'd be really good for all of us to have you here as well, because you have a really different perspective on life. A cracking sense of
humor. And the more I get comfortable, the madder I get. So be warned.
Yes. Can't wait to see more of that then. I just want to do a shout out to Sharon Hall. She's say that again.
I said I don't do naked with Speedos, so that's Jamie.
Jamie, you're out, dude. Sorry.
Wearing Speedos.
We'll just have the one person that does that then. So I just want to say thank you for Sharon for putting in such an absolutely beautiful comment, by the way. That means so much to me, mate, and it's really nice to you know have you kind of along here to watch us do this after knowing you for so many years. So thank you, and I will do your nails for you as well. Don't worry. Sharon and I just have a private conversation live there. So thank you very much for joining us, Joe. And we have our last, but not least by any means, and someone who I'm also very proud of, who has been on his own journey recently and is still living the exciting new version of his life. He's worked very hard to create it, and that is Mr. Phil Grisewood. Here he is.
Thank you.
The
Thank you.
final piece of the puzzle, and we've created a beautiful 2x5
Celebrity squares.
Snatch game. Snatch game. This is what this is.
Game. Mr. Grisewood, also known as Grink, the master of Grink. Tell us about you and your journey, and why it is that I am so flipping proud of what you've achieved over the last few months.
Oh, shucks, bless you. So yeah, Phil Grisewood, been on kind of a bit of an epic journey, I suppose. I mean, so we're hearing some of the other stories, though. I mean, so people have kind of gone through some immense trials and tribulations, and I mean, so just to see everybody kind of still here, and sort of to kind of use my favourite expression, kind of being the right side of the turf still is an absolute joy to behold. But yeah, I mean, kind of my personal journey, not dissimilar to others, really. I mean, so really kind of journey of self-discovery. Pandemic, I mean, kind of that's clearly sort of been a catalyst for a lot of people. Certainly from my point of view, early part of this year, being kind of stuck in a home office, working for a big blue chip corporate, just feeling like kind of not even a small cog in a big works. I mean, so I was kind of a bit of grit. At best, and just really felt as if hang on, I'm playing games here that have been they're corporate driven games. They're games of self-publicity, self-promotion. It's all about being seen to do the right thing. And when people used to talk about networking, it used to send shivers down my spine based on the fact that you're only networking because you needed a better score at the end of the year to avoid being sacked. I just thought, you know what? I turn 50 next year. I've just had enough of those games. I don't want to do them anymore. I just want to be me. I want to be kind of honourable to myself. I want to be, and I think kind of what it was. I mean, we had a conversation fairly early in the year, didn't we, Emma? And I think one of the things that I said was that I didn't want to be owned. I wanted to own myself and own my own time. And when it comes to the legacy that I leave, I want to be remembered for being I want to be remembered for being Phil, for being kind of funny bloke, nice friend, good loyal friend, husband, father. I want to be remembered for those things and not being remembered for a job title. That quite honestly, once I leave the business, nobody will give a damn about me anyway. So yeah, this journey is about me, and it's about being kind of the best that I can be and the best that I can be to those that I love and that are close to me as well.
You're indispensable to a business, but you're not indispensable to your family. That is something that I keep very, very close.
And we lose sight of those roles that we play in life that are actually really incredibly significant. We talk so much about success in measures of money and status and job and career and house and but actually, parent, sibling, friend, or partner, whatever it is, all of those roles are the stuff that really makes a difference, aren't they? And that the things that are really important to be who you are in. That's a brilliant sentiment. I love it.
Thank you.
So we've got a team of 10. I don't think you can possibly squeeze any more in. So we're not going to. But I'm looking at you all now, and I have been so waiting for this moment to see you all on screen together, to be able to call you my rebel squad. And I just think this is such an incredible blend of people, and I know I know the community here will really enjoy getting to know you all better. We're going to be getting back on track. We sort of lost our way a little bit over the last few months with some of the interactions and activities that we've done. But we're going to be getting back on track, doing Master Rebel rendezvous and that kind of thing, and getting some of you or all of you on the lives to talk about hot topics of the time and all of those things, and maybe we'll even interview you individually as we go along as well. Ooh, Tracy likes that idea. I can see her eyebrows wiggling. So we've filled some great time there. Sharon is saying that she's on a personal journey at the moment, and listening to you all has been really inspirational. So thank you all. What a brilliant comment. It's so good. We've got some really good interaction in here tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Any words of wisdom, Rebel Squad, you would like to give us before we wrap up for the evening?
Keep rebelling, keep rebelling, keep rebelling.
Yeah, talk to us. Find out more. Come and talk to us, because we've all got our individual nuances and the individual things that we do kind of in our business life. I run my own business, a few people do here. It's all about rebelling. So ask us questions. I once had t-shirts printed for a team a very long time ago. Bad mistake in the corporate world that said, ask me anything. However, I'm putting that t-shirt on now. Ask me anything.
Oh, yeah. I'm feeling some Rebel merch coming on here.
Yeah.
Anything.
Figures done of ourselves.
Emma, I've got something. I've got something that's just struck me that anyone listening or watching on repeat is this whole thing about comparisonitis. Don't compare any of us with yourselves. You know, the whole thing about Rebels and Rule Breakers is we are all individually unique, and just because we're the Rebel Squad doesn't mean we've cracked it, or we're not going through the same shit that everybody else is going through. The whole thing about this is don't see us as some elite group that have nailed it, because I certainly haven't. And I think it's just encouraging everybody. You know, what's the phrase? Don't compare your insides with other people's outsides. So you know, just because we're here as a group, that doesn't mean to say we cracked it. So we're all on a journey together.
And you know what? That's so perfect, Paul. And actually, you know, the reason why you're all selected to be here is because you are on that journey. And I don't want a team, you know, no offense to any of you, but I don't want a team full of perfect people. Perfect's boring.
You certainly got that.
Perfect's boring. What did you say, Jay? Sorry.
I said, well, you've certainly got that. Do you know what I mean? The non-perfect ones, but I think in a way that's more real, that's more authentic, because like we're going on our own journeys. You know what I mean? Like we're dealing with our own tests and challenges. Yeah. And it's not just people, again, just saying it. It's people doing it. You know, you can see us speaking from experience. You can see us speaking from, you know, the challenges that we're going through and the trench that we may be in at that time. And it's like, I speak to people a lot about the environments in which they're in at that particular time, right? And it's like when you think back to our ancestors, right? They were actually in the trenches, right? And it was, you know, it's a very, very hostile and challenging place. And a lot of people nowadays, they go into the trenches emotionally, psychologically, mentally, you know, and it's one of those that we don't embrace, right? And we don't really want to be in the trenches, right? But when we look back, our ancestors in this place, like that was a place, although it was horrendous, although it was horrific, it was a place where like battles were won. It was a place where wars were won, but ultimately where like heroes were made. So like that's what I want to do as like a last bit of wisdom, is like people, you know, when you're in a very, very hostile environment, like you may feel you've been buried, right? But in fact, you've been planted to grow into something quite extraordinary.
That's beautiful. Massive kudos to that one. I think one of the things that I was really thinking about as you were talking then, and you know, Lisa, you were saying as well, and Paul, is this theme in my mind of vulnerability, and how vulnerability is actually part of strength. And it's seen, you know, particularly in, you know, the masculine world, that vulnerability is weakness, and it's not. And I'm incredibly pleased to have you know, a really good gender balance actually in this group, because everybody here, but you know, particularly signaling to the guys here, you are all very good at showing your vulnerability, and that to me makes me see you as very strong men. And I love that. I absolutely love to witness that. And you know, a message to everybody out there: this community that we're creating, yes, it's growing, but you will always be safe here. I will always look after you as much as I possibly can. You know, I will not tolerate, you know, fearful behavior, hate, injustice, intolerance, cruelty, or anything like that. If I see that, or any of, you know, the team see that, we will absolutely not be allowing that in this group. So I think, you know, I absolutely want to maintain that
And
I'm so
sorry,
there.
can I just kind of add a little bit onto the vulnerability side of things?
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's very, very authentic. I think it's very, very real. You know, and there's loads of pros to like showing your vulnerability, right? But it's a very, very fine line in which to tread, right? On a personal level, right? In as much as please carry on showing your vulnerability, right? Because it shows that you're human. But from a personal aspect, it's like there's a fine line between vulnerability, like showing that, but also like really working on yourself and your resilience as well. And this is what I urge people to do, right? You owe you to work on yourself, but also the people that are around you, because at the end of the day, like it's really cool to be vulnerable, and it's nice, and there's a lot of pros, and there's a lot of people that will say, you know, that I'm going to be there for you, that I will pick you up when you're down, and I will be there in the dark, you know, I will be your light in the dark, and I'll be your strength when you're weak. But it's amazing if you do show a lot of vulnerability, that in those moments to other people, you all of a sudden become an inconvenience, right?
Yeah.
And you are someone that has to rely on the work that you've done on yourself to stand up yourself, and you realize kind of how strong you are. And the only way that you're going to realize how strong you are and kind of what you can do on your own and by yourself is by literally being thrown into the trench by yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to forget about what it is that they've been through. There's so much focus on like a problem that's in front of them, right? And they forget about the problems that they've already overcome and conquered. So yeah, I want you to remember, and yeah, just know that yeah, being vulnerable is amazing. Being vulnerable has its positives, it has its pros, but also yeah, don't neglect, you know, the work needs to be done in kind of building your own resilience as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good message, actually, and that right here is why I'm really looking forward to getting the Master Rebel Rendezvous back on track, because this is the stuff that I love talking about. That's a completely different angle, you know, that I, you know, wouldn't have thought of myself, and the reason why I don't really ever want to be a motivational speaker, because I haven't got the fuel to do that. That, you know, that constant stream of wisdom, really. Amazing. Any other things that I may have forgotten or overlooked that we want to bring into the virtual room before we wrap up, guys?
It's just about having fun and making a load of friends and gaining confidence on the way.
Keep posting.
Yes.
Be playful and curious.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Look at this little chucking stuff in. I love it. Well, we have massively run over time, but it was well worth it, because every single moment I have thoroughly enjoyed, and hopefully our audience have as well. Keep rebelling, everybody. Chief Rebel and Rebel Squad out. I will see you guys in the studio in a moment. And have an amazing evening, everybody. Thank you for being with us for a whole year or part of the year, and I hope you'll stick with us from now on as well. Good night.
Bye.